Hello, I'm Matt Prelip, one of the multimedia developers on the instructional support team in the College of Health Solutions at Arizona State University. And today we are going to learn how to use Open Broadcast Software Studio in the classroom. All right, let's start off by downloading the OBS software, which you can find at obsproject.com. So in this case, we're going to download the Windows version. And so the download starts. We're going to go ahead and open that right up here. And we'll start installing OBS. Okay, let's go ahead and launch OBS. All right, let's go ahead and open up OBS Studio for the first time. And you'll be presented with this window that says, would you like to use Audio Configuration Wizard? Let's go ahead and do that. Now, there's a few things that will be a little bit interesting here that are a bit different for most users of the program. So let's go ahead and hit yes. We want to optimize just for recording. We will be streaming via Zoom, but that's a whole different thing. The history of OBS Studio is that it's used for video gamers, and so they use it for streaming on Twitch and YouTube and whatnot. It would ask you for your account information. We don't have that, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. The current resolution for the screen is 1920 by 1080. That's going to be pretty universal across the board. So let's go ahead and keep that. And then the frames per second, 60 and 30 are pretty industry standard. And 60, that's going to be more frames per second. So it's going to be more vivid of a screen. But 30 is just fine. So we're going to keep that as well. And we're going to use all the default recording and different settings they have here. We are going to maybe change these up a little bit as we move along. We'll give you some tips for recording as well, so stand by for that. So let's go ahead and go full screen. And as you can see, we have several different windows in here. Let's make our program window a little bit smaller. So this is our program window. This is basically our canvas, how we're going to be laying things out. There's a lot of controls over here. The recording button we'll go into in more detail, as well as the studio mode and the settings. We'll leave that for now. Fade is a good transition. There are several other that will come about later. We can add some more, but the fade is very good. Sources. These are the things that we're going to be showing on our screen, and we're going to get to that in just a second. And then scenes. Now, scenes is a way of having different viewpoints, and we're going to touch on that a little bit. But right now, we're going to set up our presentation window. So we're going to rename this presentation. So this is us giving our presentation. So rename that. So now we have to get all of our elements started in the window. So we're going to start off with your webcam. We want to see you. And so we're going to do video capture device. And you'll see here you can create new or add existing. We don't have any existing. So let's go ahead and we're going to call this webcam. And we're going to use the webcam on the laptop. So we go yes, and oh, hey, look, there I am. Hi. That's our webcam on the laptop. We don't need to change any of the other settings at this point, so we're going to go ahead and click OK. Now, as you can see, there's a red border around this. We're going to make this a little bit smaller because what we're going to do is we're going to create a window that has our PowerPoint over here to the right, and we're going to have this as somewhere where your students or the people you're presenting to can see you. So now, secondly, we're going to add an external microphone. As you can see, I'm using an external microphone. And so we're going to add that. Now, as you can see, we're getting VU meter on the microphone for the computer. Now, if you can, get an external microphone, or use your headset if your young person in the house has a gaming headset that they use. You can use that as well. Just having better sound will make for a better presentation for sure. So in this case, I am using, so we're going to go to audio input capture, and mine is called Focusrite. So I'm going to call it the Focusrite, just so it stays consistent with my hardware. And you can name it gaming headset, Bluetooth earbuds, whatever you might be using. But in my experience, we've definitely been seeing better audio on people that are wearing a headset or earbuds with a microphone. So we're going to click OK on there. And as you can see, there's a pull down menu. We have the microphone that's already installed from the laptop, but we're going to add the Focusrite USB. We're going to click OK. And since I'm going to be using that now, you see it show up in the audio mixer. We are going to mute the microphone on the computer so we're not getting double the audio. So there we go. Now you can see the VU meter on the Focusrite is the only audio that we have incoming. All right, now we want to add our display. Now, with this being said, if you have another monitor laying around the house, or you're using your ASU setup that you got brought to the house, that is optimal. Now, it's not impossible to present with OBS on just a laptop. It's a little more challenging. So if you do have that extra monitor, it's worth the effort. So we're going to add that right now, and that is going to be display capture. That brings up, so we're going to say, in my case, we're going to say, let's call it external display. Okay, and I have actually 2 monitors hooked up to my laptop. So we're going to add that. And display 1 would be the laptop. We're going to go to my second display. But as you can see here, there's just a big gray screen. You're not seeing your display. This is a Windows issue, and a little trick that we need to take care of in case you're using a laptop like this and run into this issue. So let's step away for a second. Let's go ahead and we're going to click OK. We're going to add this, but we're going to go ahead and close out OBS, and let's dive into Windows and get this fixed. So we've run into this problem. We can't see our display. It's a relatively easy fix. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to settings, this little gear here, and we are going to search for graphics settings. It comes right up, and we go here. And the reason is that if you have a laptop, it could have 2 graphics cards. One for your display and PowerPoint presentations, other for video and video games, that type of thing. So what we need to do is we need to add OBS Studio to how we want it to display. So we're going to browse, and you're going to see that you're going to have to look for it, but it is the C drive on Windows machines. It's C drive, Program Files, OBS Studio, bin, 64-bit, and then we go to the one with the circle icon that says application, and we're going to add that, and just go ahead and add. Now, we're not quite done here. So we are going to click the options, and as you can see here, there's a power saving GPU. That's the Intel onboard, and then there's a high performance GPU, and that's the NVIDIA GeoForce, and that's for high performance. We want to go with power saving, and that's going to direct our display in OBS Studio only to be in the power saving mode. So let's go ahead and hit save. We can go ahead and get out of that, and we'll go back to OBS and see that our display that we already added, well, look, it's right there. So let's get back to setting up our setup on OBS Studio. So as you can see, the display is taking up the entire screen, as it should. If you click on it, you get that red border once again, and we're going to make it a little bit smaller so that we can see ourselves down in the corner, and there's the display. So troubleshooting issue number 1 taken care of. Now let's get back to setting up OBS Studio. We have our first display set up. How about that? So we have our display. So let's go to, there's a couple of things that we want to discuss here. We're going to open up our slides. Now, there's a couple of ways to go about this. Now, we have this option. We can have us down in the corner. Say you haven't done your slides yet, and you want to decide your slides so that you keep the space open down in the corner. What we need to do is we need to put the external display below the webcam, and see there you can have the whole slide with your video in it. There is that option. So, but that, you probably have a set of slides you used prior to this, and you didn't even think that you were going to be using OBS. Well, we can do that. So let's make our window smaller again, and we can do that. So we have them side by side. There's a little bit of space. We're going to get to that in a second. But let's get back to scenes for a moment. So we have our sources set up for our presentation scene. I had mentioned scenes let you have different viewpoints. So say at the start of class, you want to be full screen. Your webcam is full screen. You're greeting the students. So let's go ahead and start a new scene. And we're going to call this full screen, so we know that this is you up close and personal. So we're going to click OK. We now have a blank program screen again. So what we need to do, we already put in our sources, so all we have to do is add them. So we are going to say our video capture device, add existing webcam. Got it? There it is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take our red border, and we'll make that full screen. We still want to hear you, though, so we need to add that other audio device again. Even if it is the one built in on your laptop, we have to have audio input, and we're going to add existing. And in this case, we're going to use my Focusrite, but you can choose your mic auxiliary that's on your laptop, and click OK, and there you go. So you now have your full screen to greet your students. Hello, what a great day of class we have for you today. So we're going to do that. So how do you transition? So you greet them. Hello, how's everybody doing today? Let's go to our presentation. Well, the first way you can do it is just click on presentation down here in the scenes, and it's going to automatically take you to your presentation. So then we can just go through our slides and go about it that way. And then it's over. We're ready to say goodbye. We can do that. But there's another way of doing it, and this is more important. As you play around with OBS Studio, you can add images. Say there's a slide that you want to take up the whole screen and is very important, or other displays that you want to add. So we are going to go to the studio mode. And if any of you have done any kind of video production or that kind of thing, you'll be familiar with this. So this is our program window, and this is our preview. So this is what our audience is seeing, and we can get the presentation. We can queue that up, and it's on deck. It's ready to go. We're saying hello. How are you? Great day. Let's get into our presentation, and we can just hit this transition button here, and it takes us to our video. Now, realize when you're in this, you can't move, but if we want to go back to presentation and say I want to move my video down a little bit, we can just transition back to that and see it went into the program window just fine. So those are your two ways of transitioning between the two. And we do encourage you to play around with it. There's other sources that we can add, and we're going to get to that in the next video. We're going to add some color and text and some other items here in the sources window. We're going to dress up your presentation. We're going to have some fun with those colors. We're also going to learn a little bit more about recording and some of the tricks that you need to know in recording in OBS. And we're also going to add your OBS Studio instance to Zoom. Now, it's not that difficult, but it isn't as easy as just turning on Zoom and turning on OBS and getting going. So play around with OBS, have some fun, and we'll be back with another video with all those tips and tricks, and we'll see you then. Thanks.